It's better to let the investigation go on and have me do my job and focus on my public responsibilities.
The president refuses to answer some new questions about Monica Lewinsky as the special prosecutor in charge of the investigation comes under attack again. Monica Lewinsky is mobbed as she leaves a California restaurant. Is the media going too far in the search for a story? A former teacher thrown in jail for breaking a promise to stay away from the 13-year-old boy she'd been convicted of raping. And the Blues Brothers are back, but will the adventure be the same without John Belushi? Good evening, everyone. I'm Robin Robinson.
I'm Walter Jacobson, and first on Fox tonight, a wild, wild day of charges and countercharges in the investigation of President Clinton. There are reports at this hour suggesting his personal secretary is now cooperating with the special prosecutor. Meanwhile, the president still will not answer any questions about Monica Lewinsky, and his personal attorney is going to court to stop what the White House is calling intolerable leaks. Our Jack Kennedy here now to sort it all out.
Walter, Robin, it was a day of leaks, denials, and finger-pointing in Washington. A day that also featured a bizarre and fascinating White House press conference where the rumors of war were overshadowed by the questions about sex. On a day when Bill Clinton was holding a joint press conference with British Prime Minister Tony Blair, the news is dominated by a leak suggesting the president tried to influence the testimony of his private secretary. A leak her attorney and the president strongly denied.
I never ask anybody to do anything but tell the truth.
But time after time, the president refuses to answer any questions about Monica Lewinsky.
This investigation is going on, and you know what the rules for it are. And I just think as long as it's going on, I should not comment.
Still, his lawyer, David Kendall, had plenty to say, attacking leaks in the grand jury process.
They often appear to be a cynical attempt to pressure and intimidate witnesses, to deceive the public, and to smear people involved in the investigation.
In Little Rock, Ken Starr says he will investigate the leaks.
If there was an act of unprofessional activity, I'm confident we will find it out.
In Los Angeles, Monica Lewinsky's attorney says Ken Starr is reneging on an immunity deal and the media is out of control.
This continued interest in the president's sex life and Monica Lewinsky's sex life has got to stop. The American public doesn't care about it, and the press cares about it, and I'm not going to let it be whipped up into a frenzy.
Hey, don't touch her, But the frenzy is already in high gear. This last night in L.A. when Lewinsky leaves a restaurant. That, in part, prompts this question at the White House today.
Monica Lewinsky's life has been changed forever. Her family's life has been changed forever. I wonder how you feel about that and what, if anything, you'd like to say to Monica Lewinsky at this minute.
That's good. That's good, but at this minute, I'm going to stick with my position. I'm not commenting.
At what point do you consider that it's just not worth it, and do you consider resigning from office?
Never.
Most politicians will never say never, but most will never face this sort of grueling barrage of leaks, rumors, and speculation. Even his detractors must admit that President Clinton handled it well today. Robin, Walter?
There's just no way for any of them to prevent the continuing exposition of these rumors. But the question of Monica and Starr, I mean, it's just kind of lost. Is she going to testify and be given immunity? Do we have any idea?
At this point, we don't really have a clear idea of where that's going, but it now appears that Mr. Ginsburg is lining up rather solidly in the Clinton camp and is saying that perhaps her testimony is not going to be nearly as sensational as we were first led to believe.
Which may be why she cannot get the immunity that she's seeking.
That may be a big factor.
Okay, thank you, Jack. Now, the media, you saw some shots of it, being criticized for the way it's covered the White House investigation. Case in point, that frenzy last night as the press tried to get photos of Monica Lewinsky. Dane Placco has more.
Monica Lewinsky was reduced to tears last night as she attempted to get to her car outside a Los Angeles restaurant.
Hey, don't touch her. Hey, pal, get your arms off her. Get your arms off her. Hey, leave her alone.
critics say it's a case of media out of control.
It looks like a press riot, if you will.
Jeff Gordon writes about the media industry for Crane Chicago Business. He says pictures like these have given all journalists, both tabloid and legit, a black eye.
What they see in these horrible press muggings is a horde of angry-looking people shrieking things out, terrifying the people they're trying to interview, and behaving with all the decorum of a soccer riot. And I think when people see that, they really start to get angry.
And it's getting worse because the media keeps getting bigger. More TV stations, more cable, more tabloids, more stringers, all scrapping for the tiniest morsel of news.
You would think that after a number of these episodes, the press would say, the public doesn't like this. We're not advancing the story. We're not really advancing new information. Let's back off. But it hasn't seemed to happen.
But there's plenty of hypocrisy to go around. While the public blasts us for our over-coverage of the scandal, its appetite is insatiable.
On the one hand, the public is decrying this crush of coverage. On the other hand, they're reading it, they're listening to it, and they're viewing it with great relish.
Hey, cool, chill, it's funny. Hold on a second.
Dane Placco, Fox News, Chicago.
So should photographers stop following Monica Lewinsky around? That's our Voice Your Choice question tonight. We'll have your answers a little bit later.
And the other big story of the night is the showdown with Iraq. President Clinton and the British Prime Minister Tony Blair, both of them say they will not back down in the showdown with Saddam Hussein. They say that America and Britain will go it alone if military force is needed. In Iraq today, talks designed to ease the crisis continued. That was in Baghdad, but there is no sign whatever of a breakthrough, and Iraq is calling for volunteers to fight in case war breaks out. However, some men are refusing to report. Others are leaving the country, we're told, to avoid military duty. In the Persian Gulf, meantime, 2 U.S. Marine fighter jets collided in midair. That happened off the coast of Kuwait. One pilot was killed, the other ejected and was rescued. The planes were heading toward southern Iraq on a routine patrol mission when that accident occurred.
Audio tapes have been released from that fatal mid-air plane collision over Lake Michigan this summer. The accident happened last July. A southbound Cessna collided with a northbound Beechcraft near Meigs Field. The air traffic controller on duty saw smoke from the distant collision and then asked another aircraft to investigate.
There's a 5 Mike, Roger, sir. I'm going to request at this time you do not, come on inbound. I want you to fly over the hotels and report. I've got a big ball of smoke out there to the south of the field. I had a Bonanza on final. He's not in sight now. We're rolling our crash crew, so I'm going to request that you do not land here because we will not have the emergency crew in full capacity.
7 people were killed in that collision.
Chicago police tonight are looking for a man in connection with an attempted abduction on the far north side. He approached a 7-year-old girl this morning in the 1600 block of West London. The man had a dog and urged the child to pet it, and when she did, he grabbed her arm. She managed to get away and ran to school where she reported the incident.
Heavy snow and rain created more weather problems from coast to coast today. At least 4 deaths have now been blamed on the pounding wind and rain that's hit California. This is one of the lucky survivors. He fell into a storm channel and was swept away by the roaring current. A firefighter jumped in after him, but water washed him downstream as well. Firefighters on the shore finally managed to get a line to the 2 men and pull them to safety. A record snowfall in Louisville is blamed for at least 8 deaths. 21 inches of snow is on the ground. Forecasters had predicted only 2. Schools and universities throughout Kentucky were still closed today. There were many accidents, one of them involving a semi that jackknifed into the path of a freight train. In Lexington, roofs collapsed under the weight of the snow.
All that while we remain what some say are the luckiest people in America tonight. The sky was clear blue as people made the commute home to begin the weekend. The question now, will this mild weather hold? Steve is here to answer the question in our first look at the weather.
Walter, it looks like a terrific weekend ahead. I'll tell you more about it a little bit later, but let's concentrate on today. As you said, blue sky today. Take a look at the latest satellite pictures that I've got for you. The blue sky ended, though, as we headed into the late evening hours. We've got cloud cover out there right now. We'll go with partly cloudy or mostly cloudy conditions for this evening. Overnight lows away from the lake between 20 and 24. Near the lakefront, 25 to 28. Northeasterlies to 10. We're not talking about wind chill tonight. I'll have your complete weekend forecast coming up in just a little while. Walter, Robin?
Okay, Steve, and we'll take a break here for just a minute. When we come back, a lot more ahead on Fox News, including a judge throwing the book at a former school teacher.
She'd promised to stay away from the 13-year-old boy she'd been convicted of raping. Well, today she paid the price for breaking that promise.
6 minutes.
And a teacher who was fired for not breaking up a fight sues to get his job back.
And the boys are back, a sequel to the Blues Brothers.
And I'm Lily Chacon, live at McCormick Place with a sneak peek at the newest things in cars. I'll be back with details.
Considering where you usually drive, which makes more sense? An off-road vehicle or the quintessential on-road vehicle? The all-wheel drive cross-country. Decide for yourself on our website. Serve safely.
At the U.S. Department of Justice, he spearheaded the program that's put thousands more police on our streets. He led the battle to save the ban on deadly assault weapons and launched the Federal Violence Against Women Office to protect abused women and children. As a husband and father who's fought for our families, he'll make sure every voice in Illinois is heard, no matter how small. John Schmidt for governor.
Volvo introduces a welcome alternative to vehicles designed to go off-road. A vehicle designed to stay on it. The all-wheel drive cross-country. Visit our website to learn more about it. Serve safely.
Coming up, a judge says you're going to jail to a teacher caught with her 14-year-old ex-lover. But were they planning on running away when Fox News returns?
Now, fresh from the oven, Boston Market introduces our delicious new home-style casseroles made from scratch to make you feel all warm inside. Like the chicken wild rice casserole with a buttered crumb topping that's simply mouth-watering. Or the beef shepherd's pie made with our mashed potatoes from scratch, so hearty you'll feel like snuggling by the fire. Cozy up with these casserole meals right now for only $4.49, but hurry in, they're only here for a limited time. The food's always better at the market. Boston Market.
Chevy Astro, with the most cargo room and the most towing power of any midsize van. And now, with 4.9 APR financing or $1,000 cash back, it's easy to own. The 98 Chevy Astro. Grab the family and test drive one today. Because with all this space, all this power, and an offer like this, now is a great time to drive away in one of your own. Check out this great offer on the Chevy Astro today. Only at your local Chevy dealer.
Mary Letourneau is going back to prison. She's the Seattle woman who had a relationship with a 14-year-old boy. She was back in court today after being caught with the boy she'd promised she would not see again. Mike Emanuel is live in Seattle with more on the story. Mike?
Robin, they have a child together, but Mary Kay Letourneau and her 14-year-old boyfriend are not allowed to be together. When they were caught, the judge had few options.
These violations are extraordinarily egregious and profoundly disturbing.
Convicted child rapist Mary Kay Letourneau being sent to prison for 7.5 years was not surprising. The surprise was testimony from Seattle police investigators talking about what they found Tuesday morning. That's when Letourneau was found with the 14-year-old boy she was convicted of raping.
The back seat was full of clothing articles, boxes. There was a small, almost like a mini safe, small, strong box. Sacks of clothing, food, other objects and items.
That it appeared as though Ms. Letourneau was ready to leave the jurisdiction.
Letourneau's attorney, David Gerke, begged for mercy, but in the end, Gerke said justice was served.
Mary broke the law as it was written. The judge treated her properly both times, and I feel sorry for everybody involved.
Throughout the hearing, Mary Kay Letourneau took notes and wept openly. But when sentencing was announced, she was stoic. Her only comment was thank you to her attorney. The boy's attorney has said all along nothing sexual was going on in the car, and the boy initiated the meeting. Still, Mary Kay Letourneau will serve a minimum of 5 years in prison. We're live in Seattle. I'm Mike Emanuel, Fox News, Chicago.
Mike, thank you very much. A Chicago school teacher who was fired for refusing to break up a fight is now suing the Board of Education, trying to get his job back. The incident happened last October at the Robeson High School. Charles Bevel was a new teacher at the school at the time when two girls began fighting in his classroom. One of them was armed with a box cutter. He called security, but he did not try to pull the girls apart.
Well, teachers don't receive combat pay, and it's not the responsibility of the teacher to act as a security force and police the schools.
Why should he, lose his job because he didn't want to get killed? That young lady could have killed him by stabbing him or something,
Bevel is suing in federal court, claiming defamation, emotional distress, and wrongful discharge. School board officials say they haven't seen the suit, but they say they are confident the decision to fire Bevel will stand.
The search is on tonight for a Chicago businessman who's a fugitive from the law. He is from the Operation Silver Shovel investigation, a convictee. 52-year-old Marco Morales is one of the first people indicted, in fact. He was sentenced to 59 months in prison. Morales was supposed to surrender at a federal prison last year, but he never showed up. Federal officials didn't notice that he was missing until yesterday.
The search for Chicago's new top cop is narrowed tonight to 3 men. They are Deputy Superintendent Charles Ramsey, the present Chief of Detectives, Terry Hillard, and Chief of the Organized Crime Division, Raymond Risley. One of them will succeed former Chief Matt Rodriguez, who retired last November, you may recall, after his long friendship with a convicted felon was made public. The family of Arnold Morales today received a check and a thank you note. Morales was a community activist from the South Side who was murdered last December. The Mexican-American Police Organization and a community bank presented his father and sister an award of appreciation, and they gave $1,000 to help with expenses.
When Fox News returns, a preview of the hottest show in town this weekend.
We'll take you back to the auto show to check out some pretty hot wheels.
And doctors are encouraged by a new treatment for certain types of cancer.
And a public high school that turned to the Bulls and the White Sox for help didn't get it. That story coming up in Perspective.
Coming up in sports, we're walking the streets of Manhattan tonight. I'm Corey McPherrin. All-Star Mania is alive and well here in New York City. And coming up, Karl Malone says the Bulls' problems on the court may very well be related to all this talk about the team breaking up.
What's your favorite wintertime sport? Skiing? Snowboarding? How about contouring? Get the new Contour SE Sport just in time for winter fun. It's got loads of standard equipment and a special sport package just for this area that includes fog lamps, spoiler, alloy wheels, and 170 horsepower Duratec V6. And it's $19.24 less than Pontiac Grand Am. Now get low 2.9 financing for up to 48 months or $750 cash back. Get into gear this winter at your neighborhood Ford dealer.
Coming up, everyone's all revved up for the opening gala of the auto show. Your invitation to see what the party's like when Fox News returns.
Bart rents a car with a fake ID.
Bart, cruise control, my good man.
The Simpsons.
Tonight at 10:30 on Fox Chicago.
Tomorrow on Fox News Chicago, a touching tribute to funny man Chris Farley. Be there as his family, friends, and fans gather for a memorial in his college town. Also, after 18 years, the boys are back in town. Go behind the scenes of Blues Brothers 2000. Tomorrow at 9 on Fox News Chicago.
Today's the day I find us a cell phone. I'm going in there and I'm not coming out till I find us the best deal.
He knows Ameritech always has the best deals, so why waste valuable time?
Any luck?
No, but I'll crack this no matter how many Sundays it takes.
Ameritech's Talk Free Till 2000 deal. Get a free phone and free local calls on nights and weekends until the year 2000 from Ameritech.
I'm late for my wedding. Can you help me out? Thanks.
You nervous a little bit?
I can't show up like this.
Maybe she'll help you out.
With our full line of sports cars, sport utility vehicles, and sedans, Mitsubishi can get you where you're going on time. Just make sure you know where you're going. The family of automobiles from Mitsubishi.
A friendly neighbor in a Chicago suburb is being hailed tonight as a hero for rescuing 3 children who were left home alone. The neighbor saw some smoke coming out of an apartment and then rescued 3 kids trapped inside. The children were just 2, 3, and 5 years of age. Their parents have now been charged with child endangerment. Smoke at an exhibit at the auto show brought dozens of fire trucks to McCormick Place this morning. A short circuit in an electrical box at the BMW exhibit set off an alarm. Officials say there were no flames, just the smoke.
Well, it would take more than smoke to stop the 90th annual Chicago Auto Show. It opened this evening with almost 1,000 new cars on display. Our Lilia Chacon, lucky enough to be at McCormick Place for the gala benefit opening. Lilia.
Robin, it is called the First Look for Charity, and it is the 7th annual time that they have done this charitable drive. It raises money for 12 very worthwhile causes. But the real attraction here is vehicular, and there are about 800 very dressed up people with someplace they'd like to drive.
What is it about brand new cars that makes grown-ups act like kids again? Maybe it's the candy colors that beckon like forbidden treats.
The glitz and the glamour, the shine, the smell of the leather.
And it's shiny, it smells good, the whole thing.
And the whole thing is for charity. Hundreds of dressed-up early birds have paid $125 for each ticket. They're getting champagne and hors d'oeuvres and the satisfaction of helping to raise money for 12 very good causes.
This is really a charitable event, and Illinois Spina Bifida Association is one of 12 charities that is helped and supported by this event every year.
Some of these people are obviously shopping.
This thing is like a tank.
This is the first step because this is a reality, and then we move on to other things.
Other things like fantasy and Ferraris, or this Chrysler concept car whose time has come, according to one eager customer, but he says the company's too chicken to ever put it into production. Bark, bark, bark.
They're chicken.
He really wanted that car. Now, this is the largest auto show in the country. There's close to 1,000 cars here on display, and it opens to the public tomorrow. The 1998 auto show goes from Saturday, February 7th until Sunday, February 15th, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., $7 for adults, $5 for preteens. They get in free if they're with a paying parent, and $5 for seniors. And tonight's charity event is expected to raise somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million for charity. Live at McCormick Place, I'm Lilia Chacon. Back to you.
Okay, Lilia, and it's not true that at the end of the show they start selling those cars for $1 or $2, right?
No, but they are giving away a Corvette any minute now.
Okay, good luck.
Okay, not me.
Okay.
We have some encouraging news to report tonight about cancer treatment and alarming news about strokes.
Laura Jones joins us now with tonight's Fox Family and Health Report. Laura?
Robin and Walter, stroke is the third leading cause of death in the U.S. and may be a much bigger problem than previously believed. New research shows about 700,000 Americans suffer strokes. That's 200,000 more than indicated by earlier studies, but those studies concentrated on affluent white neighborhoods. The new data looked at multi-ethnic communities. A new cancer treatment is showing remarkable success. It nearly eliminates major surgery, and half the patients who've received the treatment are now completely cancer-free.
I'm glad to hear you say it's all gone.
82-year-old John Shanahan is now cancer-free. Doctors tried all the proven treatments, radiation, chemotherapy, and surgery to get rid of his nose cancer, and nothing worked. But now he's cured thanks to an experimental procedure called electroporation. Dr. William Pangi is conducting clinical trials at Rush Presbyterian St. Luke's Medical Center.
We have a way now to cure the process and maintain their quality of life.
During the outpatient procedure, a patient's tumor is injected with a small dose of a chemotherapy drug. Then a special pronged device is inserted into the tumor, and electrical impulses punch tiny holes that trap the chemo directly inside the cancer cell.
We're done. And then the patient's free to go home that day. And then over the following 4 to 8 weeks, the tumor essentially withers away and is replaced by the patient's own normal tissue.
Electroporation has shown no side effects and is patient-friendly, unlike surgeries that often disfigure the patient.
They were able to continue their life. They were able to continue to eat and drink and talk just as they came to me.
Electroporation is only being tested on cancerous tumors in the head and neck, but it could soon be applied to other types of cancers as well. And it should be approved by the FDA in about the next 2 years.
But right now it's only been used on patients who've already tried the other radiation chemotherapy.
Right. They've had to have tried every other possible treatment and it didn't work, so then they can try this. That's because it hasn't been tested or has not been approved yet by the FDA.
Still experimental.
Right.
Okay, very promising though. Thank you, Laura.
A little taste of spring may be heading our way. Steve will be here with details after a break.
Then a Chicago alderman comes to the aid of a man who got ticketed for going high-tech.
Ronald Reagan gets a gift from America that you just can't buy in a store.
The new Blues Brothers movie is out, but will it be the same without John Belushi?
And the latest additions to the Brookfield Zoo.
This is where I stand. This is what I believe. I'm Lolita Didrikson, and I'm running for the United States Senate. I've got my family here to announce my candidacy.
Lolita had the courage to get things done. Others couldn't.
There are fundamental differences between Carol Moseley Braun and myself. It is a flatter, fair, simpler tax, overhaul of the IRS, returning control to the states, to individuals, and to families, smarter, smaller, more efficient government. That's what this campaign will be about.
Today you can choose from over 40 different luxury nameplates, but we can narrow it down to 4. The Lincoln Collection, including the powerful Navigator, or a lease of just $4.99 a month with just $4.99 down on the new front-wheel drive Continental with an Intech V8 and precise handling, the exhilarating Mark 8, and the redesigned Town Car. The Lincoln Collection. Visit the Lincoln Mercury display at the Chicago Auto Show. Lincoln, what a luxury car should be.
Coming up, an inner city high gets a disappointing perspective on Chicago sports teams. Walter explains when Fox News returns.
This just in. Beginning next week, we'll use MCI for local caller. Will you notice a difference in your calls? No. Will you notice a difference in our telecom manager, Louise? Oh, yes. She will no longer be deluged with bills or have to raise her tiny voice for customer service. But remember, MCI Local arrives next week. So steer clear of Louise this week.
Right now at Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries, you can get 2 great chairs for one low price, which means they'll be moving twice as fast. We suggest you do the same.
Pick a pair, pick a room, and airfare is on us to Hawaii, the Bahamas, and Florida for 2.
Right now, during Lazy Boy Furniture Gallery's Pick a Room sale, get incredible savings on entire living rooms and family rooms. So put together a room now and save.
No payments or interest till May. Call 1-800-678-BOYS.
We're going to stop saying that compared to the rest of the country we look good, because I think it's callous and it could come back to haunt us. So
it certainly could. We've been very lucky, very fortunate. Count our blessings.
Just on our own. Not even compared to others, but just on our own. Compared to ourselves a year ago. How about that?
It looks like it's going to continue the nice weather over the next couple of days. Knock on wood.
It's not wood.
Afternoon highs pushed into the low 40s today, and it looks like we're going to see more of the same as we head into the weekend, folks. Some sunshine this afternoon. In fact, nice enough to get out on the driving range, huh? I know you golfers out there are all licking your chops going, oh, man alive, I'd sure like to be out there. It's Metro Golf in downtown Chicago. Looks like they are open today. Open at least to hit a few balls. All right. The high temperature this afternoon pushed all the way to 42 degrees. The overnight low, 31 degrees. Folks, this is your average high for this time of year. Our low this morning, our average high for this time of year. Been very, very fortunate. 15 degrees, that's your normal low for this time of year. 6:57 tomorrow morning. Sun will rise. It'll set tomorrow evening at 5:13. Current conditions, temperature right now 32 degrees, 92% relative humidity. Northerlies are blowing to 6 miles per hour and pressure's holding steady at 30.08 inches of mercury. 41 at Midway, 38 degrees in downtown Chicago. Overnight lows in the low to just about the mid-30s at the lakefront, 34 degrees there. Current conditions, temperatures right now are in the low to mid-30s, 31 degrees currently in Rockford, 34 degrees in downtown Chicago. Up in Waukegan, 32 degrees. And in Blue Island, Iftikhar Ashraf tells me it's 30 degrees. Old Ifti. 34 degrees. That's your lake temperature right now. This is the storm system. I'm standing right in front of it that continues to bang on poor California. They have been hit by one El Nino storm after another, and this one continues to pound the coast with winds blowing at 50 to 60 miles per hour. They're expecting more rain. That's going to lead to more flooding and, of course, mudslides. As far as we're concerned out east, there's not a whole lot going on, folks. There's a thin band of moisture that continues to push through portions of Kentucky, pushing all the way up and into the mid-Atlantic states. Some thunderstorms over Florida, but that's about it. We had some sunshine today, a welcome relief from the cloud cover that we've had over the last couple of days, but by late afternoon into the evening hours, that cloud cover pushed all the way up into northeastern Illinois. I suspect that high pressure will continue to build in, and we're going to see sunshine tomorrow afternoon. Northeasterly flow will mean cool conditions this evening, but that mild Pacific air will wrap around and push right into our area once again as we head into the weekend. Expect some sunshine and comfortably warm temperatures. The forecast for this evening, partly cloudy conditions, the low inland away from the lake between 20 and 24 degrees, 25 to 28 right around the lakefront, northeasterlies to 10 miles per hour. Mostly sunny or partly cloudy tomorrow, the high between 40 and 44 degrees, northeasterlies to 10. Yeah, it's February, everybody. Woo-wee. Yeah, it looks like mostly sunny or partly cloudy conditions tomorrow. Sunshine continues into Sunday. Looks like just a terrific weekend. Chance, an opportunity perhaps for some rain as we head into Tuesday. High temperatures through the 5 days, upper 30s, low to mid 40s.
Okay.
Enough
It's
said,
a beautiful thing. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
A new development tonight in the Baby Richard case. Ottokar Kirchner, the boy's father, has lost an appeal in a libel suit. The state appeals court ruled today that Tribune columnist Bob Green and the late Mike Royko did not libel Kirchner. He'd sued the two men for calling the decision that awarded Kirchner custody of the boy a crime. Kirchner's lawyer says he will appeal to the state Supreme Court.
The Chicago alderman is coming to the rescue of a motorist who was fined for using one of those remote starters on his car. It is a Fox follow-up to a story we first reported here last week. You may recall that Jim Edmondson used a remote starter from his apartment to warm up his car. He got a $75 ticket for violating a 40-year-old city law, which says you cannot let a car run unattended. Now, 7th Ward Alderman Percy Giles is updating that ordinance to allow the use of those remote starters.
Unfortunately, we won't be able to help Mr. Edmondson, but hopefully that he can get some satisfaction to realize that there's a lot of people in his shoes, and because of this particular incident that cost him $75, we're going to do everything we can to enact this amendment as soon as we possibly prevent it from happening to anybody else.
He predicts the ordinance will pass easily.
Next on Fox News, a look at the incredible things people will do to show their faith.
Like these people, for example, crawling through the streets to make their way to a special church.
One state has a unique proposal to allow inmates a chance to get off death row.
And a Chicago Public High School's request for help gets a cold shoulder from the Bulls and the Sox. That story coming up in Perspective.
This portion of Fox Weather is brought to you by Ameritech.
Why are these things called answering machines? They don't have all the answers. They can't tell me who was on call waiting while I was talking to my boss, or if anyone called while I was online. That's why I'm getting voicemail 98. It's new from Ameritech. It takes messages all the time. You don't.
New voicemail 98 from Ameritech is just $4.45 a month. Call 1-800-MESSAGE during the Too Big to Resist event, and we'll set up your voicemail box free.
Get the message? I'm finally getting mine.
Marshall Field's 13-hour sale. 780 minutes of shopping bliss that, like life, go by much too fast. Starts Saturday, ends Saturday. The Marshall Field's 13-hour sale. Make every minute count.
Coming up, a look at the amazing sacrifices some people will go through in search of a miracle. Details when Fox News returns.
All across America
We're there to see you through. We're more than just an oil change, a name of Jiffy Lube.
Keep your body running good.
Prevention's everything. If you don't maintain it, I'll be fixing it.
Keep fit, stay healthy.
If your car's running good, take it to Jiffy Lube, and they offer Pennzoil. Prevention.
It's worth it.
Hey, you don't want to see me.
We're more than just an oil change, a name of Jiffy Lube. Drive in, drive out, drive on.
Here's how to have some real fun this winter. Get behind the wheel of a Ford ZX2. More standard horsepower than Cavalier. Lots of standard equipment, plus now a sport package that includes a spoiler, alloy wheels, and fog lamps at no extra charge. You can afford no extra charge. You can afford this ZX2. It's $3,165 less than Cavalier. And now it's got low 2.9 financing or $1,000 cash back. Ford ZX2. Drive it, love it, get it. At your neighborhood Ford dealer today.
The recent visit by the Pope to Havana, Cuba, has allowed religion there to emerge from the shadows. Though even in the darkest days, Fidel Castro couldn't extinguish the religious flame that was burning in his people. But what you are about to see now are some amazing acts of faith that the people of Cuba will endure in the name of God. Cristina Gonzalez reports from Havana.
An older man slides his body on his back along a dusty road. Tied to his foot, a heavy block. He heaves himself in this manner for miles. Not far from him, a woman crawls on her knees, her sick child on her shoulders, her face set with determination, marked with pain, pale with exhaustion, friends and relatives urging her on. On the same road, a man walks on, bent under the weight of a huge cross. Even a young child makes the journey, clutching a candle, her bare knees taking her tiny body forward to the place they're all crawling and sliding, even rolling to. The Shrine of St. Lazarus in El Rincon, just south of Havana, the capital of Cuba. Once a year, tens of thousands of Cubans make this pilgrimage, a rare public outpouring of religious fervor in a communist country where masses, processions, even religious holidays have been outlawed for over 30 years. But for some reason, this pilgrimage, with its incredible images of extreme ritual, personal sacrifice, and public penitence, has endured, even as police look on. One must sacrifice, he says, explaining he's here to give thanks for the recovery of his sick child. St. Lazarus is associated with healing. This woman, slowly going blind for the last 5 years, is tearfully praying for help. She says, I want to see the face of my children. I need a miracle, God. I've never done anything bad to anyone. Others, like this woman, believe that her pain in carrying her child to the altar will spare her son from the pain of his illness, in this case, cancer. But many who've been crippled by disease or accident do make their way to the church, where begging is also considered a form of worship to St. Lazarus. Most will hand over the money, perhaps the most difficult of sacrifices, since the average salary in Cuba is less than $10 a month.
People of all faiths are taking part in the rituals. They say they believe that God hears everyone with a sincere heart, regardless of religion.
This was Ronald Reagan's day in California, honoring the former president on his 87th birthday. That story tops tonight's news briefs. Nancy Reagan and the former president's friends attended a big celebration at the Reagan Presidential Library and Museum in California. In Washington, President Bill Clinton signed a bill renaming the airport there the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. Mrs. Reagan called that a wonderful gift. Condemned prisoners in Missouri may soon be able to get off death row if they agree to donate bone marrow or an organ. A state lawmaker has proposed sparing prisoners on death row if they'll become donors. Critics say it's a terrible idea because of the high incidence of AIDS in prison. A judge has ruled a newborn baby abandoned in a restroom at Disney World should stay with her aunt and uncle in New Jersey. Baby Jasmine, as she is being called, was found last November. Her mother was a tourist from the Philippines. The mother is back home now with her 8 other children. Florida police want her arrested and returned to this country so she can face charges for attempted murder. If you know your sports, then you know that at this time of year we are into basketball. But there's also this weekend some football on tap. In Walter's perspective.
Robin, it is an important weekend for football, at least here in Chicago it is. It is a banquet weekend for the champions of the Public High School Football League. The mighty men of Dunbar Vocational. They were the best in the league, and then they went on to win the Prep Super Bowl against Marian Catholic 28-21. It's a big thing in Chicago to win the Prep Super Bowl, especially for these kids and their parents at Dunbar Vocational in the inner city. They don't have as many things to cheer about as other kids and parents in some other neighborhoods do. Their banquet this weekend is at the Martinique on the south side, and it's hugely important to the kids and to the community as well. But it's expensive. $25 a person, $250 a table. So the Dunbar Booster Club alumni and parents wrote letters to the Chicago Bulls and the White Sox for help. Please, we need to do everything we can to ensure that these young men grow into adults. Our young athletes at Dunbar, who look up to their heroes in professional sports as leaders and role models, the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago White Sox. Could you please help offset the cost of the meals, asked the Dunbar Booster Club, and show some greatly deserved appreciation to our future leaders and their coaches? The White Sox, from their big offices in their big new park, wrote back. Unfortunately, we cannot comply with your request, as our plate is more than full at this time. Please accept our most sincere wishes for a successful event. And the Chicago Bulls wrote back from their big new offices in their big new stadium, a form letter to a dear Bulls fan. We receive hundreds of requests for donations of Bulls souvenirs and hope the enclosed items will assist you in your efforts. An old program from a Bulls game. This is what the Dunbar champs are getting from the Chicago Bulls. This and a thanks again for supporting the Bulls. We are glad that we could be of help. Our best wishes from the Chicago Bulls Community Services Department. Can't sponsor a table for $250, but here's an old program. Compliments of our Community Services Department. It may be a department, all right, but where's the community service?
Up next, a look at who's hot or what's hot at the video store. Also, what's new on video, including Demi Moore's foray into the military. And Blues Brothers 2000 hits the theaters. We'll see if it's as good as the original.
Great menu ideas are in the bag at Jewel Osco at prices sure to please. Start with sizzling savings on USDA Select Beef Tenderloin Filet Mignon. Each 6-ounce steak is $1.98. Use your preferred card for values like sweet, juicy farm stand strawberries, 99 cents a pint. Wake up to a big bowl of cereal. Take your pick of selected Kellogg's and General Mills cereals and get 2 for $4. Fill your cart with these values and more at Jewel Osco.
Coming up, Chicago's original Men in Black are back. A look at Blues Brothers 2000 when Fox News returns.
This is Imagine TV.
Get more for your money on Invest for Success, where this week's quick pick is Mercury Grand Marquis. With a price of around $20,598, the newly restyled 98 Grand Marquis has a powerful V8. Plus, be sure to visit the Lincoln Mercury display at the Chicago Auto Show February 7th through the 15th. So if you want great value in a full-size car, add Grand Marquis to your portfolio. But hurry, like any great investment, timing is everything. See your Mercury dealer now.
Till next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Oh, they never have the movie I want.
So I end up watching When Barn Animals Attack Part 4. Wait a minute. And they actually have it. What's going on around here, huh?
Finally, a video store with more of the movies you actually want.
What a concept.
Go home happy.
Rent The Game tonight and go home happy. The object of the game is to discover the object of the game. Michael Douglas and Sean Penn in The Game, rated R from Polygram Video. Rented tonight at Blockbuster Video.
I like these cakes. Yep. Where's the chocolate stuff? Doesn't have any. Where's the frosting? Kix doesn't like that. How come you made such big bowls? Because all the little bowls are in the dishwasher.
Kids like the simple corn crunch of Kix. Moms like that it's low in sugar. Kix, kid tested, mother approved. Now when you buy Kix, your kids can get free Libby's Juicy Juice. See coupon on marked boxes for free multi-pack.
The top video rentals this week, according to Billboard magazine. Number 5, the Julia Roberts comedy My Best Friend's Wedding. Con Air checks in at number 4. The Mel Gibson thriller Conspiracy Theory is 3rd, and Face Off is 2nd. The top video rental, the science fiction thriller Contact.
While 2 new movies that flex a lot of muscle have just been released on home video.
Just treat me the same, no better, no worse.
Not new, but newly out. And one of them is G.I. Jane. Demi Moore plays a young woman who attempts to become the first female admitted into the Navy SEALs. It is rated R. Also available this weekend is Disney's animated movie Hercules. It has all the elements of a classic Disney movie, a hero, a girl, and an evil villain. This is Disney's 35th animated feature. It is rated G, but not recommended for children under 5.
The boys are back in town. Blues Brothers 2000 opened at theaters around the country today. Dan Aykroyd teams up with John Goodman in this sequel to the 80s hit film, The Blues Brothers. Andy Culpepper has a review.
It's 18 years after the Blues Brothers entered movie lore, and Blues Brothers 2000 attempts to pick up the story with a retooled cast. The original movie paired Saturday Night Live cohorts Dan Aykroyd and the late John Belushi. John Landis directed.
We were crucified. We were attacked. They didn't call us a classic. They hated us. You know, I mean, the picture was very commercially successful. But you're talking about a movie after you make it takes on a life of its own. Let's hear playback.
Now Landis is back for Blues Brothers 2000, and John Goodman has joined Aykroyd on screen, but don't call him a replacement.
Those shoes can't be filled. They've been bronzed and hung up, and they're gone. I mean, I could never fill those shoes. So it's just totally, it's something that's totally different.
Not totally. There are many familiar faces from the first film cropping up this second time around. And music, again, is the core of the picture.
It was a thrill of a lifetime.
That day when that super concert took place was incredible. We called all our friends and relatives and said, now's the time, get down to the studio, you know, and it was just...
It'll never happen again.
It was amazing,
like that.
you know,
you just soak it all in. It's just incredible.
If you want some kissing, call me, baby. All you got to do.
The bottom line, the first one was about the music, and this one has more music. And it's kind of, you know, I'm almost at the point where, you know, I'm glad people like the movie and enjoy the movie, but I know that no one can criticize the music.
True, but critics are soundly slamming the plot. The words Russian Mafia should tell you more than you need to know. But don't the dark glasses look cool? In Hollywood, I'm Andy Culpepper.
Blues Brothers 2000 is rated PG-13, so ignore the plot and sing along, right?
Coming up in sports, the NBA All-Star Weekend has begun.
We'll go to Corey McFerrin live in New York, partying. I mean, where some of the young stars give their opinions on the future of the Bulls.
And we'll introduce you to the newest addition at the Brookfield Zoo.
It takes people and technology working together to create automotive excellence, to build leadership and innovation, to shape our future. We're the men and women of UAW Ford, working together with technology, working together for quality. Come share our pride at the Chicago Auto Show at McCormick Place. UAW Ford, working together for quality.
I gotta tell you, Marge, Walt Disney World was a great idea. It's the perfect place for a 30th wedding anniversary. 30 wonderful years. I feel like a kid again. I think there's some life in the old boy yet. You're a genius, Marge. I married a genius. Oh, Bob. Here to dance? If you don't think it's past our bedtime. Oh, come on, Bob. The night is young.
Ever wish you could feel like a kid again? Call 1-407-WDisney and make the dream come true.
Coming up, the stars are out in New York City. The NBA All-Stars talk about life after Michael at the All-Star game when Fox News returns.
So we'll have a ridge of high pressure right here in the middle of the country. A trough of low pressure.
Friday's always like this? This place is nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Who are those guys over there?
Oh, they're here every Friday. They're huge Weekend Outlook fans.
Oh, it's on. It's on. Here we go. Let's take a look at what's on tap for your weekend.
Come on, baby K. Stay cool. Stay cool. Stay cool.
Warm weather. Stay low. Stay low.
Hello, warm weather, right there. Who looks ridiculous now?
You're on Yellowstone country.
See the newest and hottest cars at the 1998 Chicago Auto Show, February 7th through the 15th. Call 424-6030 for ticket information.
It is a case study in aerodynamics, control, and power, made with an abiding conviction that one car can change the way you look at all cars. Introducing the daring new A6 from Audi. In the wind tunnel, it whispers. On the Autobahn, it screams.
Here's our Voice Your Choice tonight. Should photographers stop following Monica Lewinsky? And here's what you tell us. 76% of you say yes, leave her alone, while 24% of you say no, keep on following her. Thank you for letting us know what you think.
The NBA All-Star Weekend has begun in New York City.
Right. Corey McFerrin joins us from Manhattan with a preview. It's beginning to look a lot like this might be Michael's last All-Star game, right, Corey?
Yeah, it really does, Walter. As you might be able to tell, we're right outside Madison Square Garden where the 48th All-Star game takes place Sunday afternoon for Michael, his 12th All-Star game. And you're right, could very well be his last. Makes it very clear once again this week, said, I am gone. As long as Phil Jackson's not a coach of the Bulls next year, and Jerry Krause repeats again that he won't be, it looks like this is it for Michael. And I wanted to talk to Michael about that today, but of course, as is his custom, he doesn't show up for media day. Never does. He's fined $10,000, but Mike doesn't care because, as we all know, he'd just as soon be out playing 36 holes of golf.
Thanks you guys a lot for covering the NBA weekend.
Dikembe made it here on time, and so did Grant Hill.
Congratulations.
But just because Mike chose to tee it up at the expense of the assembled media doesn't mean he wasn't on everybody's mind. 19-year-old Laker phenom Kobe Bryant will start for the West opposite MJ on Sunday. He knows this could be it for his boyhood hero.
I watched it for so many years growing up, playing in All-Star games and putting on the show there. And, for me to go up against Mike in his so-called last All-Star game is an honor.
It's guys like Bryant and Antoine Walker, the pride of Mount Carmel, who will carry the mantle once Mike is gone. Antoine tells me the impending breakup of the Bulls is something he just doesn't understand.
The Bulls organization is making a terrible mistake in how they're handling the situation. You have, this is Michael Jordan, the greatest player to ever play the game, Scottie Pippen. You have a team like that is unbelievable. You gotta let those guys break themselves up. You can't break them up.
The old guard's a bit confused too. But Utah's Karl Malone, like Michael in his 13th NBA season, looks at the Jordan, Jackson, Krause mess and sees opportunity, especially after the Jazz tattooed the Bulls Sunday before last to sweep the season series.
Do you sense any kind of a lack of focus on that team, maybe because of this idea of this being the last run and Jackson's gone and Michael's gone, all that?
I'll tell you like this, it can't help. I don't care what no one say. I don't care what the guys say on the TV. Distractions like this cannot help. I don't care who you are and what people say. It's got to hurt the team. So, good.
And of course he says good. I mean, he sees a chink in the armor and he wants to take full advantage, as any player would. We also talked today to Kevin Garnett, star of the Minnesota Timberwolves, former Farragut Academy player. And he said, you know, I say, what about the idea of coming along after Michael as part of the new guard? He says, you know what, I don't want to talk about that. I want to sit back, enjoy, and appreciate everything that Michael has left to give, because one day it's going to be gone and we're all going to be sorry. Michael expected to fly in tonight from Las Vegas, where we understand he was golfing today, in time to work out with his team tomorrow. That'll do it tonight from 33rd and 7th. I'm Corey McFerrin. Yeah, exactly. Back to you, Jeff, in Chicago with the rest of the day in sports.
All right, Corey, you see Michael tomorrow, you tell him to get to work, will you?
I will. They're sloughing around, right?
None of that. You know it. Thank you, Corey.
See ya.
Well, while the NBA's best vacation in New York this weekend, the Blackhawks' Chris Chelios, Tony Amati, and Gary Suter will lead a group of NHL stars to Japan, where they'll represent the U.S. in Olympic hockey. But first, some unfinished business stateside. Chelios and company taking on the Dallas Stars tomorrow afternoon. We'll have it for you here on Fox beginning at 2 o'clock. El Nino wreaking havoc at the Buick Invitational in San Diego, where second-round play was eventually suspended due to rain, but not before Michael Bradley made the highlight reel through the mist here on 15. And he knocks it in for eagle. Bradley currently at 4 under, 5 strokes behind co-leaders Tom Kite and Davis Love. Well, he has been a workhorse for years, but apparently Bronco quarterback John Elway isn't ready to be put out to pasture just yet. Elway's agent Marvin Demoff confirming today that his client plans on returning for a 16th NFL season. The 37-year-old Elway had talked about retirement after leading the Broncos to an upset of the Packers in Super Bowl 32. Meantime, the search for the next Elway continues. Bears coach Dave Wanstead arriving in Indianapolis for this weekend's NFL Scouting Combine. Bears currently hold the 5th pick in April's draft, but remain optimistic about possibly moving up to grab a quarterback, either Washington State's Ryan Leaf or Tennessee's Peyton Manning. Keep your fingers crossed. While Wani continues to pile up frequent flyer miles, the rest of the team is in paradise, literally. The Bear Fan Club holding its annual gathering this year in St. Petersburg, Florida. Hippity hop races a favorite among the players, as you can see. Marlon Forbes showing some good hang time there. But you know, it's just not a party until somebody gets a pie in the face. Former Bear tight end Keith Jennings still taking abuse from his ex-teammates. Jennings currently a free agent, but what's really amazing is that they actually found a pie big enough to cover his entire face. That is one huge melon. Look at him. Ugh.
Pie and sand.
They're working hard down
there,
aren't they?
Combination.
No, that's not.
Okay.
Sticking to it. Tomorrow's pretty nice.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a real nice weekend. It'll look like this, folks. For your weekend, look for some sunshine with afternoon highs pushing into the low to mid 40s. The afternoon high today, 42 degrees. We will equal that tomorrow, and it looks like we're going to see some sunshine. Sunshine continues into Sunday. Next chance for some rain will be about Tuesday, next Tuesday of next week.
We'll worry about that when it gets here. Thank you, Steve. Finally tonight, Brookfield Zoo showed off the cutest kitten you'd ever want to take home. Take a look at Anastasia, a 4-month-old Siberian tiger cub. She weighed only 2 pounds when she was born last October, but now that she's gained weight, Anastasia is on public view. When she's full grown, Anastasia will weigh close to 500 pounds. So much for taking her home.
And so much for our news tonight. Thank you for being with us.
Good night, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Closed captioning of Fox News Chicago is brought to you in part by your Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
The Quilted Northern Quilters.
First day?
Yes, I'm really nervous.
Don't worry, doll. Just keep quilting.
Because that's what makes Quilted Northern so absorbent. Absorbent? I thought it was quilted to be pretty. It's quilted to create thousands of quilted places for moisture to go.
Not like those flat as a pancake sheets made down the street. All that absorbency leaves you feeling clean.
Nice job, dear. Thanks.
Quilted Northern, quilted to absorb.
For just $2.99 a month, lease the all-new Intrigue, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Here's our idea. Show us what's new in computer technology.
We're gathered here in Las Vegas to look at about 10,000 new products representing over 2,300 companies.
This is running off the K6, right?
AT-type form factor chassis.
K6 with a 3D accelerator. How many megahertz?
You guys are pretty sharp. You know all this stuff. Many of these products have never been seen before.
If you want to program on the fly, this is really cool.
Showing the next generation of computers to the next generation. Best Buy. Now that's a great idea.
Yeah.